Hi everyone, it's Courtney Elliott here, the founding member and senior consultant of Elliott Education Consultancy with a webinar speaking on social emotional learning. Our agenda for today is what is social emotional learning, social emotional core foundations, and conflict resolution. Social emotional learning is the process of learning social and emotional skills. The benefits of social emotional learning is to learn to manage emotions and behaviors, maintain healthy relationships, learn to identify others' emotion and perspective, empathize and show compassion, solve problems in peaceful ways. We learn to communicate assertively about our needs and our wants. We also learn to make responsible decisions and be aware of personal emotions that helps in dealing with impulsive behaviors and think about a situation before acting. Students and also adults who are socially and emotionally confident feel connected to school, work, life, and less likely to be left out or bullied. Research shows that students who participate in social emotional learning improved academically, have improved attitudes and behaviors, are twice as likely to earn a college degree or certificate, and are nearly 50% more likely to graduate from high school and have a full-time job, career, business by the age of 25. Here are the social emotional core foundations: self-awareness, self-management, responsible decision-making, social awareness, and relationship skills. Self-awareness is the ability to consider and understand your own emotions, thoughts, values, and experiences, and how each can influence your actions. Self-management focuses on an individual's ability to regulate and control their emotions, thoughts, and behaviors. Responsible decision-making requires you to consider the consequences of different potential actions, understand your strengths and limitations, and to know when to ask for more help when needed in making certain important decisions. Social awareness is understanding the perspectives of others and empathizing with them. And relationship skills, your ability to make positive connections with others and maintain healthy, mutually rewarding relationships, which means both sides are getting positive, great things from the relationship, not just one side, both sides. Building the social emotional core foundation. Building self-awareness. In building self-awareness, you talk about your emotions with your child, and then you act out together what it looks, feels, and sounds like when they experience one emotion versus another. Notice and label when your child recognizes their emotions, the strength of their emotions, and how those emotions influence their thoughts and actions. For example, you are feeling frustrated. Thank you for telling me. You stomp your feet because you are feeling frustrated. Let's talk about it. And of course, it might be you're feeling happy. Thank you for telling me. You clap your hands because you were feeling happy. Let's talk about it. And then allow your child that time in that moment to express why they are feeling frustrated, happy, sad, mad, excited. It will also help them build that emotional intelligence and also be able to understand why I am feeling this way and what can I do to solve it this way. Talk with your child about self-talk or our voice we have in our head. So when I say a voice in your head, I actually mean our thinking process. Some of us all of us may think in our head. That joke on social media where they say, let your intrusive thoughts win. And have them think about whether the voice gives them helpful or unhelpful messages. So, for example, those intrusive thoughts. I see a glass of water on the table. And my intrusive thoughts are be like, knock it over, see what happens. Of course, you're going to knock it over and you know the water's going to fall. And once the water falls, you got to clean it up. So you have to teach the child to think, if I knock over that glass of water, is this going to be helpful or is it going to be unhelpful? Because if it's unhelpful, then I would have to clean it up. If the voice in the head says, I have to do my homework right now, is that helpful or unhelpful? That most likely would be helpful because then the child is practicing some skills that they might need later. Building self-management. When talking with children, make sure they stop, notice what is happening in my body, what are my emotions, and how strong are they? Cool off, get calm. What calming strategy will you use to bring my reaction down? It could be something as closing my eyes and counting to 10, or taking a big, deep breath and release it. Sometimes it could be sitting in a room drawing, sitting in a room reading, or anything that your child deems as a cool off strategy that can help them calm down. Responsible decision making. Identify emotions behind the action and brainstorm different approaches or solutions to a task. For example, let's say if your child throws a toy when they're frustrated. You have this discussion, the child said, I'm frustrated, I throw my toys. When a child does this, and I understand it's not easy. It's not easy at all. Walking up to the child and saying, I understand you're frustrated, but what can we do besides throwing your toy? This is teaching your child options. This is not something that's going to happen at the drop of a hat, and it's going to happen within the first time. This is going to take a while. I know nowadays a lot of people call it gentle parenting, a consequences type model, which they use in school, restorative justice, where you're giving them options to express themselves in a positive manner. Another example, child is running down the hallway. You tell them, don't run. They're going to run. The brain has this cognitive thing where you tell it to not do something and it's going to make them want to do it. Simply saying, walk or walk please, their brain stops and walk. Like I said, it's not easy and it doesn't always happen. But the more often the child is told this, they're going to eventually learn to just walk. Even adults do. I'm guilty of it too. When someone says, don't look, I'm going to look. It is not to be defiant. All I heard was look. The don't didn't even register. I just hear look. So the child is running down the hall. Don't say don't run. Say walk. I guarantee you sometimes they'll stop and start walking. Almost involuntary. Explore possible consequences. So for example, if we know that running will cause us to fall, hurt ourselves, knock ourselves out, the child doesn't really understand that really because they haven't had the experiences we already had as adults. Child says, why shouldn't I run? Don't say because I said so. What does because I said so mean? Say, well, if you run, you can fall and hit your head, or you can hurt yourself really badly. Just give reasons why. Don't just say because I said so. When someone says because I said so, I'm like, okay, all right, because you said so. What is that supposed to mean? Goes back to those intrusive thoughts. This person said, because I said so, don't run. I'm going to run to see what happens. And then you model the decision-making process. If you tell a child or a student, don't sit on the table, they're going to sit on the table. Say, sit on a chair. The adult don't go and sit on the table after you just told the child to sit in a chair because you don't want them to sit on the table, because now you're modeling that behavior She can sit on the table. Why can't I? Building social awareness. Take opportunities during activities such as reading stories or watching videos to help your child. Name the emotions characters are feeling. Identify the situations that cause these emotions. And describe how the characters react to the emotions. Suggest calming strategies the characters might use. For example, Inside Out. That's a perfect Disney movie for kids to understand emotions and make us feel and what causes those emotions. I recommend checking that movie out, learning more about the emotions and applying the strategies that's in this slide to the movie and possibly reenacting that in real life. Conflict resolution. This was my favorite as a teacher to teach. Understanding conflict. Conflict is a necessary part of life. A part of life you might not like, but it's there for a reason. It's important to understand why conflict occurs in order to suggest different ways to resolve conflict. Identifying and talking about conflict. The first two steps in a conflict resolution process is stop, think, and cool off. Sometimes the person may not want to solve that conflict right then and there. You have to respect that, or else you're not going to get anywhere and the conflict is just going to get bigger. Stop, take a moment to yourselves, and when both parties, not just one, when both parties are all involved, are ready to sit down and talk, then it may happen. Talk it out. To do talking sticks, a pen. And I can say, hey, whoever has the pen in your hand is the only one talking. If you do not have the pen in your hand, then you cannot talk. Let that person talk, say their piece, listen to understand. Okay? Don't get defensive when the person is trying to explain how they are feeling. Sit, listen. It's hard, it's tough, especially if there's accusations flying about. But if you really want to work it out with this person, it is best to sit and talk it out. If you need a talking, pen, just a regular pen, hold the pen. I ain't talking. I have the pen in my hand. Once I'm finished saying what I have to say, pass the pen to the next person and let that person say their piece. Now, if things get loud and things get rowdy, then maybe you're not ready to have the talk it out phase and you have to go back to step one and cool it off. Cooling off and becoming calm first allows you to think about your perspective and the other's perspective in the conflict. Clearing up statements or I messages allow you to share your thoughts and feelings about the conflict. For example, let's say I got yelled at and, we cooled off. We had a moment apart. And I said, hey, are you ready to talk now? The person says, yes. Okay, have my talking pen. I became angry when you yelled at me. And it made me frustrated because I was not able to say my side. I'm done. I'm passing the pen. Other person says, I understand that you was mad, but I was angry too. I was angry because you were not following directions. Pass the pen back and keep it going. Remember to not interrupt, and they include a feeling statement or how you feel and a request statement. The request for statement is what you would like to see happen. So now I have the pen in my hand and I'm saying, well, I would like it better if you didn't yell at me and just tell me if I'm doing something wrong. Resolving conflicts together. The last step in the conflict resolution process is think about possible solutions. This is a joint effort. If the other person is not trying to hear you out and they are just stuck on how they feel, walk away. Walk away. Because this person is not someone who's trying to solve a conflict. Maybe at a later date they'll be able to solve that conflict. Maybe not. It happens, it's life. If you and everyone else that's in this conflict are ready to solve this issue. You sit down with no distractions and think about possible solutions. And then pick a solution and try it. If it's a little difficult, maybe you need someone called a mediator. It can be anyone you know, a therapist, someone professional, the third friend in the group, or if it's a sibling thing, a parent, to help pick a solution and try it out. If that solution's not working, then go back to the table and pick another solution. There's no harm, no foul. Correcting our mistakes when we hurt someone. I like to think that people don't like to hurt people. I like to think that. Taking responsibility for our actions involves being honest about how our actions influence others. Offering sincere apologies and forgiving others moves relationships forward. Now, I don't want to, sprinkle flowers and, petals all over the place, but there might be times where apologies and forgiving others is not plausible. Do what you need to do for yourself. Self-care, self-appreciation, and self-love is first. If this person is continually hurting you and not offering sincere apologies, so maybe they'll say sorry and they mean it, but then they go back and do the same thing again. Not cool. And if you're a person that does that, not cool either. When you hurt someone, either you mean it or you don't. But when you don't mean it, you're sincere about it, it can move the relationship forward. Other times you can be very sincere about the apology and the person still does not forgive and cannot move the relationship forward. You gotta wait till that person's ready. If that person's not ready, you cannot force it upon them. So this video, I'm not gonna play it, but this video is talk about feelings and emotions. It's mostly kids and their parents, but you can also sort of see how this can also transfer to working relationships, family relationships between adults. And I'm going to put the link in the description in the bottom. This video is not sponsored at all. This is just a video that I found helpful for me. I hope this was helpful. I really do. Once again, I am Courtney Elliott, founding member and senior consultant of Elliott Educational Consultancy. And I thank you for joining me in this video, and hope to see you in the next videos. Remember to like, share, and subscribe.